Welcome back to another episode of Big Bear Boxing Convo, episode number 49. The conversation I want to get into today is about a potential matchup between Vasily Lomachenko and George Kambosos. Let's get into a clip on what both guys had to say about one another and a potential matchup, and also I'll give my breakdown on who I think will win and why.
Case that you are the best lightweight in the world. Do you feel that with this performance you set yourself apart?
I said before, I don't like talking about myself. We have in this weight division, we have a lot of great fighters. We have a lot of top fighters. So we can organize a lot of great fight in the future.
Now, George Kambosos upset Teofimo Lopez. He said, I'm going to see what Devin Haney does. I'm going to see what Gervonta Davis does. I want to see what Lomachenko within 2 weeks. Do you think that you are the man that stood out and needs to get that fight for the undisputed title?
Yes, of course. Of course. I need this chance.
Are you willing to go to Australia to fight George Kambosos if that's offered to you?
No, I'm looking forward to fighting Lomachenko next because you can see what he's doing. He's taking the guys that Lopez fought, but obviously he's going to want these belts. So, like I said, I'll give you a shot.
Hey guys, any updates on the big potential fight between Lomachenko and George Kambosos?
Nothing I can say because everything is in talks.
Potential. So let's get right into it. I'm going to break down on who I'm going to pick in this potential matchup between Vasily Lomachenko and George Kambosos. I do pick Vasily Lomachenko to win, and I'm going to give you my reasons later on in the video. But let's go ahead and start with George Kambosos and things that he needs to do to win. I would not mention any other fighters but Teofimo Lopez because they did have a common opponent. So let's go ahead and get into George Kambosos, things that he needs to do to take home a victory. For one, I think he has the edge in height, reach, age, and most likely he will have the crowd behind him being in his home country of Australia. So that's a few things right now that plays a big part in his achievement to bring home a win, to actually get a win. And I think it's a little bit of an advantage for George Kambosos too. But as far as skills, I think that George Kambosos needs to back Vasily Lomachenko up. I think he needs to back him up, rough him up, and smother a lot of the movement that Vasily Lomachenko does. And that can take away from some of the footwork, and also it can take a lot of breath out of you when somebody smothers you and hold and kind of rough you up too. It can take you out of custody. I picture Vasily Lomachenko as a rhythm fighter. He's a really good rhythm fighter. If you take him out of your rhythm, out of his rhythm, I don't think he can perform as well. So that's another win for George Kambosos, things that he can do to actually get the victory. I think George Kambosos, for him to also get a victory, he cannot get sloppy. I think that he got, a little bit sloppy in the Kambosos fight. I mean, in the Teofimo fight. But I think that he'll watch that video since they had a common foe as far as, fighting the same opponent. I think that he'll take a lot of notes, and I think on the other end, Lomachenko would take a lot of notes and pick up on things that he needs to do to work on also. But as far as George Kambosos, I think he's a tremendous fighter. He has a little bit of power. I don't know if he has enough to actually knock Vasily Lomachenko out. I think experience keeps you on your feet. Guys, remember that. If you got a lot of experience, when you get hurt, you can hide it. And also, if you do get buzzed, you know how to handle it. You've been there before. It's like playing basketball. You hit a three-pointer, you hit another one, you hit another one. So, in time, when you're in the game, a lot of times you get hyped to keep yourself motivated. But act like a lot of coaches say, act like you have been here before. But I think that on the case of Vasily Lomachenko, what he needs to do to win, I think he also needs to back George Kambosos up. I don't think either fighter is that great at backing up and still having a ton of power. I think that Vasily Lomachenko needs to use a precise jab. I think he needs to do a lot of head movement. And I think that he needs to be on his bicycle on this fight. I think a lot of times when you chase a fighter around, it's strategy. A lot of people used to get mad at other fighters for actually saying they running. They get a term of running. But running is winning if it becomes strategy. I tell you what, I'd rather run all day than to go home with a loss on my record. But I think that as far as him being on his bicycle, I do not think that George Kambosos has the same type of footwork to keep up with Vasily Lomachenko. Vasily Lomachenko brings a ton of different factors in the reason why I think he'll win. I think he has a bigger arsenal when it comes to punches, and I just think overall he's a smarter boxer. As I'm gonna put it like this, also I'm gonna give George Kambosos the benefit of the doubt. We have not seen a lot of. I say that Teofimo was his biggest fight, so a lot of times I don't really test a fighter on fights that they probably should win, just like the Comey fight. I don't really judge Lomachenko on that because he should have won that fight. He should have won it big. He almost stopped Comey. So I'm not going to really go back and say, hey, okay, let me go back and watch what he was doing great in there, because to me it really doesn't mean anything. But the Teo fight, I'm going to go back and watch both of those guys fight Teofimo and see what I watched it a couple times, but I'm gonna go back and watch it again so I get a better assessment for myself. But I think that, like I say, Lomachenko to actually take home a victory, this is a big one. I think he needs to start fast as well. He did not start fast, and that's his biggest downfall when it came to fighting Teofimo. Teofimo was more aggressive. That's something that George Kambosos can use. So Lomachenko can also use it in reverse the mistakes that he made against Teofimo. So he has to start fast. He has to be more aggressive, more decisive. He cannot wait on George Kambosos to come to him, because I think both of those guys are come-forward fighters. So I think Vasily Lomachenko can take what he did wrong in a big fight with Teo and actually use it against Kambosos, and Kambosos can do the same thing. But like I said, I think that it's going to come down on who's the better boxer, who's the smarter boxer, who can adjust the fastest. So breaking down something like this, I think if you guys had to pick, who do you think going to make the faster adjustments? I give Kambosos a lot of credit in the Teo fight. The reason why he won that fight because he listened to his corner. He had a game plan in camp, and he stuck to that game plan all throughout the fight. So if he do the same thing with Vasily Lomachenko, it's a great chance that he can pull off another upset. Now I only call it an upset because Vasily Lomachenko has the bigger name. He has more boxers that he has fought that that's more well known. So as far as Kambosos, he has a lot to prove. He should be just as hungry. He should not let them belts get to him. But I think overall, if I had to say who's going to be the hungriest fighter, who has the most to prove, I would have to say Vasily Lomachenko, because he has taken 2 losses. He did lose his belts in a manner that he probably should not have lost them. But you guys let me know who you pick to be the winner and why. That's going to conclude another episode of Big Bear Boxing Convo, episode number 49. You guys let me know what you think about this topic and all the other topics that I bring up on my channel. If you want to see what I'm wearing, shoptaichi.com. Follow me on all social media platforms that I'm currently on. Links will be down in the descriptions below. Just want to thank you guys like I do each and every single video. Without you guys, my channel wouldn't be what it is today. I cannot stress that enough, so thank you. If you're old to the channel, new to the channel, please try to make sure you watch the full video so you get the full breakdown of the content. Also, if you like the video, please try to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And also hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on upcoming videos on my channel. With all that out of the way, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Big Bear Boxing Squad.